of Chainsaw Man. Are we good to go? We certainly are good to go. So yes, actually have returned to actually cover chapter 60 of Chainsaw Man. As we know, chapter 59 actually was pretty damn interesting, I must say, because we kind of got to the point where I guess it's the convergence point of the whole entire, like, everyone after Denji, basically. It's actually kind of gotten to the point of, like, bruh, essentially. It's the bra part of the whole entire arc. We had the whole entire thing with Santa, but then we actually also have everyone else basically converging on that same point as well. So it's gonna be very interesting to see actually how this whole entire thing pans out, and who actually does in theory actually come out victorious in this whole entire arc, because it's not an arc that does in theory dictate that anyone can survive it. No, it's one of those arcs that anyone can in theory just be off in an instant. It doesn't matter. So anyway, it's actually put actually gone live. So, right, so that one, I need to go down here, I need to go to here, I need to go to here, I need to go back to here, I need to go to here, I need to go to here, and like that. Right, I believe with that we're good to go. And we certainly are. So let's refresh this page, it's actually showing the road. So in. It's actually, let's say so in, but we're actually not covering anime. So it's actually been chapter 60, which actually is Quincy and the Fiends 49-person massacre. That's quite the title for a chapter. I wouldn't be lying if I said that was not quite a chapter title. Oh shit! Con! No way! They're learning. You're all useless, stand back. Usage 5 years. I'm sorry everyone, I need to use you. So that's the infamous lifespan weapon. You should have just used it from the start. Look, I have my reasons, okay? I've contacted HQ. Other devil hunters in the area will be coming to back us up. So far, so good. That's almost famous last words right there. Holy cow, these dolls are everywhere. Yeah, just one touch and you're no longer human. We're to eradicate any dolls outside and surround the department store. Prepare to use your firearms and devils. Got some fiends coming up on us. Are they working with Santa? She vanished. Oh. 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 I must say, the use of, I don't know what the term is, but the use of the way to do the movements actually is very well done. The one who vanished is still close. You're in Japan. Speak Japanese. It's a devil that can make you disappear. Sato, use your devil. Yes, sir. Sato! Hey, something's wrong with your face. Sato! Oh wow. Oh wow. So I guess it kind of works very similar. Like, must work like a little bit like how Quicksilver walks in X-Men. how everything else is basically normal speed besides, well, I guess in this context, she simply is faster than everyone else. So it's kind of a reverse version of it. It's still the same version, but everything to us is normal besides to her, which actually is either very slow or very fast. Actually, can in theory take everyone out. In the meantime, I do wonder. That's the double-page spread. Jesus Christ. What the? Huh? Angel, Nakamura, defend. You'll die. Oh shit. And the wise words of me at 10 seconds ago. Oh shit. Oh man, alright. I wonder, did Reddit ever translate anything that's actually in this chapter? I know sometimes they do. I know they did it with when Reza was speaking as well at some point. So Chainsaw Man, Reddit. Yep. Right, did anyone actually translate it? Oh, so, when she says, ladies, please dispose of the leftovers, one of them laughed, and the other one that says the corpse was talking. Right, there we are. I was going to say, because I thought, might as well put it against everyone that translated it, because sometimes they actually do. Yeah, so shit basically is the overall overall like oh shit kind of thing. It's just oh man, right? So now we're kind of dealing with we're dealing with people who actually can in theory go at very lightning quick speeds. So technically they have speed to their advantage, and that kind of adds a level of like oh no to the whole entire fight. Beforehand, as I've said, every single time they've introduced an enemy, they become slightly less manageable than beforehand. There's always a sense of that you can actually manage the actual fight itself. But when you actually kind of add speed into the whole entire mix, it sort of starts to kind of become like, oh god, what do we do now? Because you can't really predict where they're going to come from and what's going to actually happen next because of the speed itself. So I don't know whether or not this actually can in theory just be one move that she has, and actually as time goes on we slowly learn more about her, and actually it starts to unravel all these moves that she actually doesn't know. But then that's not the only problem here. The other problem is everyone converging on the whole entire point, because if it was just her and her fiends, it wouldn't have been so bad. But because you have everyone else in the kind of mix in the mix as well, it does in theory actually kind of paint this picture that it's going to be a fight that isn't going to be easy by any stretch. But by the stretch I mean that it's not no fight's easy beforehand, but this one especially because of the fact that every single person is in this fight. So you don't know whether or not you can in theory be fighting one person 1 second, and who knows, someone else might come in. And actually then at that point, what do? That's the issue here. And it kind of paints this whole entire picture of if everyone starts to kind of go down in numbers, then what's going to happen here? Who's going to defend? Like, in essence, Aki's got a death flag raised from since day one, but even more so in these current arcs, it's kind of become a little bit more apparent. Then you have the Angel Devil as well. Actually, kind of it's some stuff slowly starting to unravel with him as well. Denji as well, you don't know, because Denji is Denji at this point. It's either he survives or he doesn't. I don't know at this point, you can't really say yay or nay to him. And everyone else, it's kind of like it's fair game at this point, who actually kind of survives this whole entire ordeal. But yeah, it's very kind of fascinating in a way, because each introduction of an enemy isn't, like, in essence, sometimes when you kind of get shown an enemies, they're one-upped version of the previous enemy, not in all the contexts, but in the kind of the more like grander schemed shonen anime, it's very much more apparent that each enemy they introduce is a more powerful version of the previous one. And it kind of becomes that whole entire idea of like power scaling in a way. But in this context, you kind of do get that there's an idea that these people wouldn't actually exist. Like these powerful beings do in theory exist. And it becomes not a sense of like, oh shit, someone's more powerful than the previous one. It becomes more of like, how the hell are you gonna get out of this? It's kind of a nice use of the whole entire idea of power, because power is a very kind of lucrative system that you kind of implement into a world that actually isn't kind of too what's the word? Not too obtuse in a way is what I'm trying to say. You have to be very careful how you present power, because power can either be something that's actually kind of good, or something that becomes a little bit boring after a while. But here at least it gets interesting, because you're always wondering how they're going to get out of it. It's not like Denji can in theory just win every single fight he's in the sense that he might win it in the end, but there's also that sense that you don't know what's going to come in the middle of it. Like Denji can in theory lose more limbs, something else might in theory happen, we don't know, something actually might double cross everyone else. You don't know. And I kind of find that ever more fascinating in a way, because it's one of those things you just don't know who else can in theory intervene, who else can in theory die and everything like that. And the fights themselves do become more interesting, especially now with Quan Chi as well. You just don't know what she's going to do next. And everyone else in the meantime as well. We know Santa. Santa's the only one we actually do know a little bit more about than the other ones, but again, there might be an ace up his sleeve as well, we don't know. And they actually have everyone, Tolka as well is also in the mix, and they actually have, I guess, the bros as well, but are the bros dying like randomly, I think, as well as the problem. But yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting arc. It's an arc that I like a lot, because again, it's one of those arcs that it reminds me a lot of when Orochimaru attacks in Naruto. In essence, that whole entire fight of like, oh shit, how are they gonna win this? And I like that, because one of those things, it's not a kind of typical, it wasn't a typical arc that you see all the time. It's more of an arc that is kind of like, it's very singular to that world. And the same thing does apply here to an extent. Like this whole entire fight they're going through is a very singular fight that you actually ever find perfectly done in this kind of manga. So I actually do appreciate that about this whole entire series, that you kind of do in theory get this very singular experience you don't see anywhere else. And yeah, I like the use of paneling as well. Paneling is so fantastic in this whole entire manga as well. Like the what was it? It was the whole entire thing with it had the heads. It had the heads above and the bodies below, and it had everyone else in between. That was a nice use of paneling. It's really kind of cinematic in a way. It's not typical to what you see all the time in other series. I do like that. So yeah, I mean, to wait and see what doesn't really happen with Chainsaw at this point. It's getting to the point of like, oh shit, what's gonna happen next? I do actually quite like that. So yeah, that is me done for today. So as always, if you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on Twitch, then do leave a follow on Twitch, because indeed it's been quite a bit. If you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube, then do in free leave a like on YouTube, because indeed it's been quite a bit. If you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube, then do in free leave a sub on YouTube, because indeed it's been quite a bit. If you have enjoyed this whole entire stream as a whole on YouTube, then do in free follow me on Twitter, or join my Discord as well. Both will tell you when these streams are live and any streams I do as well. But until next time, some more Chainsaw Man. See you guys later. Bye for now.